Hello, hello. My name is Raven Solomon. I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion keynote speaker, author, researcher, and strategist. I also get the opportunity to run this organization we call Raven Solomon Enterprises, which is a diversity, equity, and inclusion education and consulting firm. I want to take a couple of minutes to just tell you about my phenomenal experience working with JP Hightek. As you can see, I've got now a beautiful virtual studio that I love, that I think fits my vibe, my aesthetic, and that aligns with the quality of the work and the brand that I want to put forth out into the world. And so I highly recommend JP, not just for his technological expertise and savvy, but also for his professionalism, for his knowledge, for his experience, and for his versatility. He's not just a tech guru. He's got a background in branding, marketing, photography, videography, and he understands what is necessary for a brand to be successful from a visual standpoint. And so I highly recommend hiring JP Hightek for your virtual studio setup, your in-person studio setup, photography, videography, branding, whatever it is that you need to take your reputation online to the next level. I suggest hiring, engaging JP Hightek. Thanks, JP. Appreciate it.
All right, so we have multiple levels, right? When it comes out to producing video. Today, we live in a world where you can actually use your cell phone in order to create great content. So right now, we're talking about the right gear. When it comes out to video, you have to choose the right gear. Just like Deidre said, one thing is very important. Do not think you need the most expensive gear to produce video. You can use your cell phone. As a matter of fact, let me show you what I can get out of my cell phone. That is my cell phone. Ignore everything else that you see. But that is my cell phone that you see me on right now. Look at the image, right? If you're watching this, it is amazing. And that's just my iPhone that I'm using. You can use your cell phone to create an amazing content, right? And so when I'm talking about selecting the right gear for the type of content you're creating, you first want to ask yourself, what is the type of content I'm creating? Is it like a vlog style content where people will be traveling with me, right? In that case, you just need your cell phone to do that. You don't need to carry anything bulky with you, right? Is it something where you really want to be doing in real life, which is called IRL production, right? In real life, trust me, the smallest the gear, the better. And all you need, right, whenever it comes out to the gear on top of your cell phone is a way of having professional audio. Right? So before we even dive into any other thing, that's what I want you to keep your mind on. I just need a good video and a good audio. Why is it that you need a good audio? Because today, unless you have a crystal clear audio, and when I say crystal clear, you can buy a lavalier microphone for as little as $30 on Amazon today. You link that to your iPhone or to your smartphone, right? It doesn't have to be an iPhone, and you have a good audio. Right. And don't worry, guys, we have a free gift for you guys for all the things I'm talking about. It will be in the gear list where you can go and look at it and click and have your own personal setup. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. OK, I just need a phone and I just need a good audio. That is entry level, right? Where you can really get the best out of it. Now, one thing that I want to tell you is even though that's good, remember in video, there's lighting, right? And so if you're going to be traveling a lot or doing different things in real life, think about the type of lighting. I always tell people if you do not have any external lighting, right? And you want to use the sun, right? Which is a great source of light for beginners. You want to think about the time of the day. If you're recording in the middle of the day, like 12 p.m., noon, the sun is very harsh. In video, you want to think about smooth skin. And so early in the morning, right, before the sun rises, a lot of time between 6 and 9 a.m., the sun, as it's starting to rise in the morning, it's kind of smooth on your skin. So if you want to do something where you rely on the sun, well, guess what? Use the soft time of the day for the sun. That will be before 10 a.m. in the morning, right? Between 10 and 4 p.m. is still harsh. So you can do that early in the morning. And then guess what? You can also do it after 4 p.m. where the sun is starting to go down. It becomes soft again. And so you can strategize yourself knowing the time of the day to record. And if you love anything about beaches and resorts and all of that, right? My wife loves it. Well, guess what? You can capture amazing footage and show yourself on the resort. It looks amazing just with your phone and a lavalier microphone, okay? So that is entry level that I want you guys to know in regards to gear. Now, we're going to go into intermediate. Intermediate is where now you understand, well, that you need more than just your cell phone. As a matter of fact, some people are like, what about webcam? Aha! Let me show you something. Even a webcam you can use, and this is a webcam. This is a webcam about $120, right? It's not the greatest, but it still does something for you. Now, today I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. Don't use a webcam. That's JP telling you, don't use a webcam. All right. I know we have laptops and different things. Why am I saying don't use a webcam? It's simply because a webcam is not very focused on video production. It's simply focused on showing an image for you to do like web online meetings and things like that. But today, if you call yourself a creator, the requirement is a little higher. So don't even use that. Use your cell phone. They have way better image. Use something that has 4K quality image. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. As long as you have 4K, then you know, okay, I'm better. And well, there's some webcams that will give you 4K. As a matter of fact, Elgato has one. Again, the list of the gears will be in the document we'll give you, okay? Elgato has a great 4K webcam that you can actually use as a camera. Less than $200. Amazing. So that is one thing that I want to encourage you to get. If you're like, you know what, I just want a webcam, but I want it to look like a professional camera. Guess what? You don't have to break the bank for that, right? Now, intermediate, right, entry is where you use that. Now, intermediate semi-pro, we're about to talk about that, is where now you're going to talk about DSLR cameras or mirrorless cameras. Now, if we're talking about that, you can use something like this right here, right? This is a camera that you can use, right? And, those are photography cameras you see a lot of times, the mirrorless cameras. Now, here's the thing that I want you to know. When it comes down to using something like this, you want to keep in mind to get a camera that has clean HDMI. Clean HDMI is crucial. What does that mean, JP? Clean HDMI is simply a camera that whenever you connect it to your computer, right, it doesn't have the writings on the screen. It's clean. So through the HDMI port, it is clean. And most of the time, most cameras on the side, you will see that it has HDMI ports, just like right here, right? It has HDMI ports. And whenever you open it, you can connect either a full-size HDMI or a micro size. It doesn't matter. There are adapters for all of that. Now, here's the thing. If you buy a camera like that, you need something like a capture card. Now, let me go ahead and show you what a capture card is so you know what I'm talking about. This is a capture card, right? This is, actually, let me put it on this camera closer to me so you can see. This is a capture card right here. And this right here, right, is from Elgato again. You will plug the HDMI right here, and this part will go into your computer. And whenever you do that, guess what? This professional camera now becomes a webcam. So this takes this camera with this into your computer, and it makes your camera a webcam. And that's how I am able to have this type of image that you're looking at me. That's how I'm able to have this image right here, right? So if you look at it a lot of time, you're like, how are they getting this type of professional image quality? Well, guess what? They're just using a DSLR or mirrorless camera paired with a capture card. And there are different types of capture card, right? Different types. But the reason why I recommend the Elgato is because of the quality of the image. There are ones on Amazon. If you're starting out, you can just spend like $30, $50 to buy. But sometimes because it's third party and they're very cheap, so the encoding inside of it is not sustaining your image. And so sometimes it will look good, sometimes it won't look the greatest. So go for a capture card that's 4K. right? And that is giving you at least that 4K image crystal clear. And try see which one will be great for you. If not, just go for the Elgato. You can buy this one for about $150, and they go out real fast because it's that amazing. Plug it and you will be good to go. So that is the Semi Pro when it comes down to that. Now let's talk about Intermediate Pro. Now, Intermediate Pro is when you take all of this and now you understand that, okay, I need an audio system that's going to allow me to control the gain and all of that, right? Now, you need to step into the pro world. When we're talking about pro, a lot of times it's not primarily the image. It's more of the audio. Let me explain something to you, for example. I am using right now, this microphone is SM7B, right? This is condenser, my microphone that I'm using. However, earlier you heard me mention that you can use a lavalier. On my shirt right now, I do have this lavalier microphone right here. Let me change it and listen to the sound right here. So now I am on my lavalier microphone. As you can see, it is a different sound, right? It's not like what I was using earlier. That's the difference you can get. And so now I have this connected to something. I have this connected to this mixer. And this is the Rodecaster Pro, right? And you're like, JP, oh my goodness, this look intimidating. Don't worry about it, right? You don't have to get this. If you're starting now, you're like, this is a little too much, right? Because this just allows you to produce professional podcasts. Guess what else you can use? You can use something that's called a Zoom Pod, right? And this is the Zoom pod that you can buy, and this does not break the bank. But here's the thing: the great thing is it has 4 XLR inputs, just like the Rodecaster Pro I just showed you. So you can connect 4 microphones to this. You can travel with this. It's very portable, and it gives you professional audio as well. And the good thing is you can plug it via power, DC power, or you can just use battery on the side of it, which I love. This is amazing. I love this. You put an SD card in there whenever I'm traveling. This is what I use. And this is, the lavalier microphone that I have on my shirt that you're hearing the audio right now. So this is from Rode, right? Rode Link. When you see the TX, it makes transmitter, and then you have 2 of them, and this is the receiver. Now let me show you how this works, right? So you understand. You will need something like this right here, right? This is called a splitter, and so this goes into the side of this audio right there. So it's an aux that goes to the side, right there, and then this will then go into the back of something like this, the XLR, right? And so this is just a splitter. Again, don't worry, I have the links to all of this later for you to see. And that is how, instead of using this, I did the same thing here where I connected that source right here, and that is the receiver right there. The aux goes straight right there, and on one line now you have the audio. So I just press that to turn it on. As you can see, you could not hear me, so that's the mute, just to go back and forth. It's that simple. It's nothing that, you cannot do. I know a lot of times people are like, oh my goodness, this is a little intimidating. I have a lot going on in the studio right here, but that is what you want to think about. Now, you want to take it a step further. There's if you don't want to buy the SM7B right here, if this is too expensive for you, guess what? There is the Procaster, and the Procaster is also a professional audio microphone that is cheaper, and it has the same level of audio quality just like the other one that I've just shown you. Now let me show you the. All right, so as you can see, this is the audio that this gives me, right? I am speaking right here. As you can see, I'm speaking in the microphone, and this is the audio that you're getting straight out of this microphone, and this is amazing. Amazing. As you can see, it's crystal clear, and all I'm doing is pair it again to the mixer that I have down here, and this mixer has the line, and it allows me to control the gain. But again, you can do the same thing with this little gadget right here. Right, this little Zoom, you can do the same thing and get this type of audio. Again, very, very important. Now, some people will be like, well, JP, this is all great. However, how can I, right? Let me switch the microphone. There we go. So I just switched the microphone back. So people will be like, JP, how can I not have all of this all up in my face? Well, now instead of using this condenser microphones or lavalier microphones, I'm spending a lot of time on microphones. You notice, right? Why? Because this is literally what is going to allow people to take the time and listen to you whenever you're producing something. I'm still on my iPhone, by the way. Haha! Hopefully you're catching that. You can do so much with all of this technology we have today. Now, Another type of microphone you can use is called a directional microphone. Let me say it again, a directional microphone. You feel like, I don't want to see all of this on my scene. I don't want to have a microphone because now you're going to need this arm right here to hold it. I don't want to buy all of that. Well, I got you covered, right? There's something called directional microphone that is usually used in cinematography. And I'm about to show you what that is, a directional microphone. I have it right here. Don't be intimidated, okay, family? Again, you don't need everything I have connected here, just showing you the microphone. So pay attention to just the microphone. So right here is my professional camera, but this right here is a directional microphone. What does that mean? It is just a cinema microphone that's outside of the field of framing of your camera, right? So if you look at this camera, for example, right now, you will see that, it is outside of it. If I remove this away from me, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on this directional microphone so you can hear what it sounds like. Check it out. All right, so as you can see, you can hear me straight from that microphone, right? That is the directional microphone. So as you can see, I'm not using this anymore, and I can remove this out of the field of frame, right? And now if you want to do a video like this, all right, guys, this is what I'm looking for. This is a directional microphone, works great. And it points the audio towards you. So anything that's happening on the outside is not as loud or what's happening in the inside. As you can see, a lot of times in movies, they have that boom pole that they'll hold and they'll drop it on top of your head. So you can put that on a C-stand. You're like, JP, what is a C-stand? Well, a C-stand is simply a stand made of aluminum that you use a lot on a lot of production, sets. And that's what I use for my lights. I can go ahead and show it to you right here. Look at that. So right there, that little stand right there that's holding the light, that's a C stand, right? And that's what I'm using right there, right? And that is what you want to use in order to, let me get closer so you can see right there, right? That's what I'm talking about, that right there, right? That's the stand. I have it again right there. You see it? Right there, that's the stand, right? I have two in my studio, and that's all you use in order to hold your light or any heavy duty thing. So you can put this directional microphone on there, and guess what? You'll have crystal clear audio. Or if you're like, I want that podcast look and feel, well, that's where we have to bring something like this. The closer it is to your mouth, the better. So let me switch. All right, so the closer it is to your mouth, the better. And the treatment is even better. Why? Because of the level of condensing and audio treatment and dampening that happens with this type of mixers. This is where you enter into the professional world. Right now, we're about to go professional. Okay, when we're talking about professional, we're talking about high-end gear. And here's the beauty: you can still use some element from the semi-pro and other elements from the pro. Now, I know I've changed several cameras here, but for the folks that are, all right, JP, I am ready. I've been doing this for a long time. Let's go and take it all the way professional. Okay, well, say less. Let me go ahead and show you. I'm about to go onto my cell phone again and show you right here on this camera right now. Now, this is a cinema camera that I'm using. Some people will be like, yo, JP, I want this kind of coloration type of feel, or I just want cinematic. I know is a term that we don't use in our world, but for the average person that said, I want a little cinematic. Well, you need a cinema camera most of the time to do that. Now, with a cinema camera, there's a couple of things that you need to think about, all right? You need to think about the place. It is bulkier than the average camera that you'll be using. Let me show you, for example, and I'm going to go ahead and use my lavalier, which is a mobile microphone, so I can walk around and explain what I'm showing, okay? So bear with me here. Okay, so now, as you can see, I'm about to show you this setup right here. This is a cinema camera. Don't be overwhelmed, but you say you are a pro, so let's talk about it. So this is a cinema camera, right? And on top of that, I have my directional microphone, all right, connected to it, and it's all going right here. And that's the great thing about cinema cameras, because they have all the ports that you need without necessarily purchasing additional things. And so this has the regular HDMI, right, going in. And so from the HDMI, I ran the cable all the way over there, right, with a capture card, and that is how the video that is coming out of here, you're able to see that right now. And that's how I'm running. And now the audio, instead of connecting the audio into this
port right here, right, which is the input, I am running the cable, the XLR cable, and bringing it straight into my Rodecaster Pro right there. Why? Because I am using that to mix the audio. However, the beauty about cinema cameras is because you can have your own LUT inside the camera, and you can have a unique feel that the average person will have a hard time getting. That's why you want to use something like this. And of course, it does allow you to use cinema lenses, right, which is a different type of lens that the average person does not have. Of course, this type of setup will cost you a lot of money. However, let me say something. Let me be very clear. You do not need a cinema camera to do this. You do not need a cinema camera. Let me be clear, okay? Let me go sit down. You do not. How many times did I say that? You do not need a cinema camera to do this type of production. Where a cinema camera such as this will come in handy, let me switch my microphone.
So where this will come in handy is if you have a bigger studio set, right? Or you want to do this professionally and you want people to pay you to produce their live event, to produce their content creation, then this cinema camera will come in handy. Why? Because I've been in this industry for over 15 years, and all this gear that I'm showing you is not what I use every day. I just use my mirrorless camera. So I'm usually semi-pro, right? Because you don't need all of this. But whenever people call and like, okay, we have this event, we have this conference, JP, can your company cover it? You definitely want to take this there. Why? Because when you go there, you have to connect to their audio system. This is easy. You have an XLR inputs here, making it easy to carry less things right there. You have professional level gear that you can attach to this. So you have a field monitor, for example. When you go there, the DP will be like, oh, I want to connect a field monitor so I can see on the field while the camera is capturing. Guess what? This cinema camera has all of the ports directly on there. So you can connect everything you need, even wirelessly. That's where it comes in play, right? That's where you need something like this to travel, go to bigger conferences, and have those production going in place into multiple different inputs and outputs. That's the only reason why I'll tell you, go ahead and get something like that. Or if you want to dive into the world of professional content creation, well, do that. If you know, for example, MKBHD, he uses Red cameras to produce his YouTube content. All depends on your target audience and your intended, field of production, right? That is very important. And ultimately what I'm talking about is you need to make sure that all of this can give you a return on investment. Aha! What type of return on investment can you get out of all of this? That's why it is important to start slowly, build yourself up, focus on one thing, which is building your video presence and the actual structure of your content. When we're talking about video structure, we're talking about what type of video you want to produce, right? What type of video do you want to produce? Tell me. Do you know? Oh, you're like, I just want to do videos. There are different type of videos, right? Remember earlier I mentioned the type of video. What are you trying to do in real life production, right? Are you trying to do interviews? Are you trying to do head talk podcast? Are you trying to do tutorial videos? What type of video are you trying to produce? That will also help you determine what type of gear you're going to need. You see? So in reality, what I tell people is before you buy the gear, talk about the type of video you want to create. Know that first. And once you know that, then you can go ahead and purchase the right gear for the type of video you want to produce. Now, here's the thing when we're talking about video structure, you really want to decide on the style and the mood of your video, right? What do I mean by the mood? Is it going to be conversational or is it going to be formal? You want to think about that. That's very important. Oh, really? Yeah. You know, you can just be by yourself talking ahead and it's a conversation you're having with people. That also you do understand that you need to understand video presence. A lot of people, for example, will see what I just did right now. You got to understand this was done live, right? And so it takes practice. It takes understanding the gear, understanding which button to press, right? How to switch from one to another camera, right? All of that you need to set up a specific structure. The structure is the flow of your content. So I know I want to record this type of content, but now what type of flow do I want to give people, right? Do I want to give them everything at the beginning? No, you don't want to do that. You want to take them gradually to the core of what you want to give them. But when you do that, how dynamic are you? You've got to create some type of dynamic engagement with people, right? And so when you think about your target audience that we talked about earlier, you're like, okay, what do they like? I know my audience. They have gear acquisition syndrome. I'm just kidding. But we talk about that a lot, right? Gas, right? That's what we all talk about in our community of podcasters, content creators that, oh my God, I'm dealing with gas. Gas is just gear acquisition syndrome, meaning we love purchasing gear, right? But a lot of times that could also stop us from being effective. So that's the thing, right? What type of flow do you want? We love looking at gear, my community. Maybe you have a team of people that just love vacationing. Well, what type of gear can you create in order to capture the best? And whenever you do that, what type of progress and flow you want to give them? Now, of course, whenever we're talking about, the type of flow, one thing that I want to bring to you real quick, that you hear that a lot, but I want to reiterate that because my wife, she's a teacher. She said reiteration, repetition is key. Right? So let's repeat that if you never heard me say that before. Whenever you're building your video, you're recording, right? Before you hit the record, write down the blueprint of what you're actually going to do. Everything that I'm doing right now today, if I were to do a screen grab and show you on my screen, I have bullet points that I'm looking at right now. Because you cannot think about it in your head and stay on target, stay on track. You will be mixed up. So what system do you have to help you in the delivery of your content? See, these are things that I always encourage people to plan, because your preparation will determine how successful your content will be. So don't skip the preparation phase, because if you prepare right, if you plan correctly, if you understand and you have the bullet points and you know what each bullet point will be, then guess what's going to happen? Whenever you hit the record, you're not going to stutter on your words. Your mind is going to adapt to the flow that you wrote down, and you can go to one point to the next, and it will all make sense for the people that are listening to you. That's why it is important to write things down. I've worked with so many customers, so many clients that really, they do not take the time to write things down. Right? And here's the thing. I want to encourage you. You have to write things down because all of this will confuse you. You're like, oh, what did I say I was going to say first, second, third? Write it down. And don't be shy to take a quick glance at your notes. Right now, I can show you right here. I have my notes right there on my computer. And so I'm taking a quick glance. Right now, I have video structure. I have consistency in posting. I have video distribution, which is next. See? So I know in the structure, when I'm recording, there's a hook that you need to have, right? Hook is to grab their attention, right? And I got to have a main content to deliver valuable information. So here's the thing. What type of valuable information I'm delivering to my target audience? So that's my core message. Like, I'm not giving you something of value. Right? So the hook is to grab your attention. I did that at the beginning, right? And you're like, okay, now you got my interest. Now, what type of valuable information? Here's the thing. If you just babble in your words, if you do not research, if you do not investigate your content, then people will not appreciate what you're giving them. Even though it may take you 10, 20 hours, 5, 10 minutes, it doesn't matter, right? It will be the same. People will not be retained by what you're giving them. And finally, call to action. Let me bring it right here. Call to action, right? Where are you sending all these people after they're done listening to you? What's the call to action? What do you want them to do, right? Subscribing to you should not be at least your ultimate call to action. It should be taking them to something that you control. So now, let's dive a little deeper. We're talking now, I'm looking at my notes. I told you, you have to do it. Branding strategy for your video. Now, let's talk about strategy. Now, when we're talking about strategy, right? One, I want you to write this down. Core value communication. That's one. Second, storytelling. 3, clear call to actions. And 4, consistency across every platform. Let me say it again. Core value communication, storytelling, clear call to action, consistency across every platform. This is a strategy that you need to adopt when it comes down to creating a strategy for your video that you're releasing to people. All right, let's talk about the first one, the core value communication, right? You have to ensure that each video reflects your brand's core values. Let me say that again. Each video you record needs to reflect your core values. In other words, you need to have a foundation where your followers need to know what your core values are, what you stand for. if you watch my personal podcast, one thing that you hear me say over and over and over again is, what's the value proposition that you're offering people? People hear me say that all the time. And if you listen to my podcast, I always say it's all about creating that emotion, right? What is the value proposition? And I say create, impact, and innovate. That's our slogan. If you listen to my podcast, create, impact, and innovate. What are you creating? How are you impacting people? And what's the innovation you're bringing to what you're creating, right? Those are my core values when I'm creating content. What are yours? And how have you clearly articulated that to your followers? They need to know. That's going to allow them to identify with you and with your mission. They need to know what's the inspiration behind the things you're creating. What's the why? That is what you're establishing everything on. Like I always say, a house first requires a solid foundation. This is the foundation of your videos. And you got to make sure that you communicate that in the content you're releasing to them. Let me give you an example, because this is a masterclass. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast. I'm your humble servant, JP Hightek. As you guys know, I am a global branding expert. I'm all about helping people. As you know, we're all about creating content, leveraging technology, right, and impacting and growing our business, right? We have to create, impact, and innovate every single day whenever we're creating content. If this is something that you're looking for, you are at the right place. Buckle up. We're about to dive into it. Today, we have a special guest that's about to talk to us about how to grow our investment without touching the dollar. As content creators, we want to know how we can get a return on investment. Yes? Well, we're about to learn from our expert today. Stay buckled up, stay in. We'll be right back right after this intro. Let's go. This is an example. I'm taking the time to give you this example to give you a clear understanding, because a lot of time people talk about this thing, they don't give you examples. This is something that you can not only identify with, you can go back and replay and be like, okay, do I know mine by heart? Oh, JP, you mean you have to learn this by heart? Well, here's the thing. If you repeat it and you stutter on your words, what do you think is the best way not to do? Is by learning it. Your elevator pitch. I know you've heard that before. So this is your elevator pitch for your content you're creating. Take the time and have something written down. Learn it. Let that be part of you. Be able to say that in your sleep. Why? Even though it's not going to be exactly the same way, word to word, every single time, it will always be about the same thing. It will always embody the same core values. And it will make it easy for you, because sometimes you'll want to give it a little swing. Sometimes people will ask you, what do you do? What's your podcast about? I just told you what my podcast is about. I can say that every single time without thinking about it, right? That is what separates you from the amateur, right? It's good to start, but you have to practice to become a professional. And this is what professionals do, right? What separates a professional athlete, right, from a beginner is the amount of rehearsal, training, and practice they put in. If you know Michael Jordan's story will tell you that he spent most of his life practicing on the court and off the court. All the best ones in the world take extra time to practice. You know what I'm doing right now? This presentation. I practice this presentation. I practice it so well that even when I went to sleep, knowing that we have this presentation today, in my dream, I was even thinking about it. Did you know that if you do something so many times, even when you're sleeping, you're not doing it, you would think about it. And sometimes you think about, oh, guess what? This is a good idea. I can add this to my presentation. I can add this to my flow. And that is something that's important that I want to encourage you to do. Okay? Very, very. So that is the core value, right? And that allows you to do what? That allows you to build authenticity, right? Authenticity with your audience. They'll be like, yeah, this person is always prepared, always educated, and he is an expert in the subject matter. Why? Because you've taken the time to rehearse, practice, study the subject matter, and your delivery shows. Now, this will take you to the storytelling aspect of it. Here's one thing. Create emotional connection by telling a story. Either you're telling a story about your experience or something you've witnessed, or guess what? One of my favorites is having testimonials from your clients, right? Things that you've done. Play that in your podcast, whether it's audio or video. Play that to create that emotional connection. Why? Look around again. Look at all the big boys, all the favorite content creators that you know. They always tell you a story. For example, if you watch a video on the latest iPhone, right? You're going to watch a video telling you in real life, real life application. Why? They're trying to show you and tell you a story on how this will be for you if you're to use this phone that you're looking at in real life. They will tell you examples where they went this and they try to do this here. It didn't work, and that's why they don't like it and things like that. You got to tell stories because people identify with stories and emotions are created. So make sure you incorporate that in the content structure that you're creating, right? Storytelling got to be part of that. Now, the next phase is clear call to action. It is important to be clear about your call to action. Clear. Why? If your call to action is confusing, they're not going to take any action with you. What you need to do is guide your viewers, right? Listen to this. You want to guide your viewers with a specific action to go somewhere that is clear. For example, you want to book JP, need help with your branding, book JP here. Simple. Buy my course for more. Simple, but you got to have a clear call to action. And I said one major call to action. That call to action is the one that I want you to talk about in your videos. Whenever you're recording, say that call to action. That's your main call to action, right? Say those things in the videos. This is who I am. That's what I do. If you're looking for help, make sure to connect with me. And all you have to do is go to jphightek.com/booking. jphightek.com/booking. If you listen to the audio podcast, it's jphightek/booking, BOOKING. I say this all the time, right? If you notice, I identify people that are watching and people that are listening. Why? Because I extract the audio from my video and I use that as an audio podcast. So spelling what I'm saying, Hightek, Hight, can make it easy for people to know how to spell it and to go to the right place. But those are things that I say. Why? Because that's my main call to action for anyone that wants to come and connect with me, right? So clear call to action is key here. And now the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about here is, of course, like I said earlier, consistency across every single platform. Let me pause here because this is the last point we're about to discuss. Consistency across every platform is key. Okay? What do I mean? Maintain the same visuals. Maintain the same language. Maintain the same familiar delivery. If it's formal, be formal most of the time. If it's relaxed, be relaxed, right? Informal, be that. Whatever delivery you've chosen, and that is your main running home or point of contact, use that for everyone that wants to work with you. Everywhere you show your face, make sure that you are consistent. Why? Consistency is what's going to separate you from the competition. Let me tell you something real quick. I have people that have followed me for 2 years before they decided to pay me to help them do anything. I've had my conference, right? Creators Unleashed, where people showed up at my conference, followed me for 2 years, followed me everywhere on social media. And then they ended up booking my company to help them do a major project. And whenever I ask them, because you always got to ask, how do you find out about our company? Guess what they say? Oh, I've been following JP for a little over 2 years now. I'm part of his community. I'm part of his social media. And JP has always been consistent with, check this, his message and his delivery. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I've always been consistent with my message and with my delivery style. If you're not a comedian, if you're not a jokester, leave that alone. You don't have to be making jokes. People know I don't always make jokes, right? I'm very serious about what I talk about, and I love delivering this type of content to people, and people that follow me love it. They're not following you for something else. Don't try to become someone that you're not, but always stay true to who you are and be consistent. And that, I promise you, it says that people need to really see you do the same thing about 7 times before they decide to take action. And this is the end of our presentation today. Let us know if you have any questions.